What are your thoughts on his reluctance to acknowledge the election, his attack to continue to try to change the results?
I think that the statement in terms of the Electoral College spoke to a very important principle in our country and in this democracy of ours as Americans, which is our democracy is stronger than any one man or woman. It is about the people, and the people spoke.
6 weeks after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris decisively won the election, on Monday, the Electoral College affirmed their victory over President Trump, despite a drumbeat of denial from the president and his closest allies. What was your reaction to the final vote, the confirmation of the election?
It started to really feel real. I have to tell you that. You know, I was watching it as the states were coming in with my husband.
I am pleased to announce that Joseph R. Biden has received 16 votes for President of the United States.
And we were watching it, and he looked at me and said, see, it's happening.
Yet, to this day, some Republicans continue to reject the results, citing baseless and false claims of election fraud led by President Trump himself, who has lost 52 lawsuits in his bid to keep the presidency.
Right now, we're worried about the present and what went on with an election that we won without question.
A Fox News poll found that 77% of Trump voters believe Trump actually won the election. But with 306 electoral votes officially certifying victory for the Biden administration Monday, the rhetoric among some Republican leaders is finally beginning to change.
The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden.
Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden have spoken. He has acknowledged that he is the president-elect. How important do you think that is?
I think it's critically important that the leaders of our government, especially those who are elected to the highest offices, that we dedicate ourselves to a peaceful transition of power. And so I applaud Mitch McConnell for talking to Joe Biden today. You know, it would have been better if it were earlier, but it happened, and that's what's most important.
On the cusp of Inauguration Day, I sat down with Senator Kamala Harris at her alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. As a student, could you have imagined being just days away from such a historic moment?
No, and I really feel quite emotional about it.
There's a saying stitched into the fabric here at Howard: truth and service. It's an ethos Kamala Harris learned when she was a student here more than 35 years ago.
You know, I was raised by a mother who said that to me all the time. Kamala, you may be the first to do many things. Make sure you're not the last. And that's how I feel about this moment.
48. That's how many men have served as Vice President of the United States. On January 20th, when the 49th Vice President takes her oath of office, she will make history.
It is a weight, and it is the responsibility that comes with knowing that, one, the bottom line is that the decisions that we are going to make are going to be decisions that impact hundreds of millions of people, if not people all around the globe. But it also comes with the weight of responsibility, I feel, to honor all of those, in particular women, who came before me, women of every race, every ethnicity, every background.
From day one, the Biden-Harris administration faces steep challenges, beginning with a pandemic that has taken more than 300,000 American lives. The surge still at its worst in many states, with thousands clinging to life support in hospitals across the nation. One of the cornerstones of the new administration's policy will be simple: wear a mask. He has said a 100-day mask mandate, has laid down some specifics from day one. Other than that, what specifically will this administration do to turn this pandemic around?
Yeah, and the 100 days of the mask, he's urging, like there's no punishment, they don't have to, but he is saying as a leader, please, everybody, work with me here. For the first 100 days, let's everybody just wear a mask. And see the outcomes there, because of course the scientists and the public health officials tell us there'll be really great outcomes if everyone does wear a mask when they're in public and outdoors. It is about getting through the pandemic around making sure that everyone has access to the vaccine and that they take it. And that's going to be about, one, determining the priorities around who gets it at what phase, but it's also going to be about having a plan for distribution and working on a real issue, which is encouraging the American people to trust the science.
When you see leaders on both sides, when it comes to the pandemic, they will put down strict guidelines. And even your colleague in California, the strict guideline, but yet they don't follow through. What kind of message does that send to the American public?
I think we all have to understand that right now, this is a moment for everyone to sacrifice. And if we're going to get through this together as a country, then we all have to do it.
The vaccine for COVID-19 and the hope it promises began rolling out this week. The first Americans receiving their shots on Monday. Are you scheduled to be vaccinated?
I'm not scheduled yet, but I will be vaccinated for sure.
Getting back to normal is still far away. And as we wait, businesses are once again being forced to close their doors, with hundreds of thousands of small businesses shutting down since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, millions unemployed. 7.8 million Americans have fallen into poverty in the last 5 months. The virus's full repercussions on the economy still remains to be seen. The stimulus package.
Yeah.
When you're talking about how to work together and come together and knowing there are people in need, what needs to be done or assured to make sure that it gets passed? What is not in it that needs to be in it to get passed?
Robin, I'll tell you, I don't understand the hesitation. The people are suffering. The extension that people need of benefits is very real. And the people here in Washington, D.C. have got to stop living in a bubble and understand that we are facing an economic crisis that is being compared to the Great Depression.
With the country more divided than ever, Vice President-elect Harris sees herself not only as a Democrat, but as a leader for all Americans. You and President-elect Biden have been very firm in saying, even if he did not vote for you, that you are their president, you are their vice president.
Yeah.
But when 70 million did not, how do you specifically reach out to that amount of people?
Well, part of it is that it is about having a vision for the future of America in which everyone can see themselves and ensuring that they are seen.
In 5 weeks, Senator Harris will take the oath to become Vice President Harris, ushering in a new chapter for our American democracy.
When I walk through that door, I walk through that door with a whole lot of people. And the people who are pounding that door down for generations, all those suffragettes, and they're white, who are marching, right? All of them, I feel, we're walking through that door together, having just a, I think on the day of the swearing in, having a good old time.
What is going to be going through your mind when you take that oath of office?
I'll be thinking about my mother. Yeah, and I'll be thinking about all those girls and boys, before the pandemic struck, the fathers and the mothers that would bring them around and say, you can do anything.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.